For a long time, the title had just laid fallow in limbo. I had left the company, or was asked to leave, in about 1995. So I left without ownership or interest in the title, really, and went off and did other things. What happens with most games that come out and are very successful, blockbusters, they usually go on to create many sequels, or barring that, they'll be ported to new platforms, game systems, as they come along over time. Well, that never happened to The Seventh Guest or 11th Hour, because the games were abandoned, basically. So they seemed to disappear. In fact, they did disappear over the course of time. And they were out of the public eye, and the fans forgot about it, and people thought basically these games had just disappeared. And they had. And so it occurred to me just a few years ago that this was quite a shame and a waste, and that somebody should do something about it. And I guess that person would be me. So I did the due diligence and secured the rights to the properties, and with the intent of not only introducing them to a new audience and reintroducing them to the old audience, but to get them out in the public eye for exposure and sell a few units, but mainly bring it back into the public conscience with the main intent of creating The Seventh Guest 3, the third in the trilogy. I always felt there should be a third game in the series to complete the trilogy, and it's always been, I felt, a bit of unfinished business on my part. So I hope to wrap up that bit of business soon. Well, the premise of the story this time is that Stoff's mansion was burnt to the ground many years ago, and the property has been lying fallow and in ruins for, these many years. But a mysterious stranger comes into the town of Harley and rebuilds and remodels and restores the mansion to its original state, and actually creates an historical landmark and a museum dedicated to the legacy of Stoff. The museum will be filled with new puzzles, actually old puzzles that have never been seen before, that are even more amazing than the original puzzles that were found in The Seventh Guest. I felt that Seventh Guest, while groundbreaking for its time, could be improved in many ways. I think artists often do that. They, they write a song, they'll record it and play it, but over time they keep improvising and coming up with different versions. And I think so. As an artist, you want to do that. The 11th Hour diverged from The Seventh Guest and experimented in different ways, and it had. I don't think it worked as well, according to the fans, or so they tell me. But I think there's some good parts of that, and so anyway, I've learned a lot from having done the two, and would like to have a crack at doing a third, and actually, basically I shouldn't say redoing, but reinterpreting The Seventh Guest, the original Seventh Guest, as maybe it should have been done, in my mind. Sort of like taking a movie like King Kong, which was a wonderful movie back in the 30s with the stop motion animation, but when Peter Jackson did it, that was pretty amazing too. I mean, it kind of needed to be done. I kind of want to do Peter Jackson's version of King Kong for The Seventh Guest. Well, one thing we have discovered since we reformed Trilobyte and re-released the titles for PC and for Apple iOS platforms, and put up for our Facebook page and been out there on social media, is yes, that we have reawakened or rediscovered our fans. And fans are fans, you know.
Right,
they're fans because they like the game and they have fond memories and they're very enthusiastic. So God bless them for that. Well, the great thing about crowdfunding is that we don't have to bend over backwards and jump through hoops for the gatekeepers of the industry. We can appeal directly to the public and in a democratic way, and they can decide what game or product is worthy of development. In this case, especially when you're crowdfunding and when you're doing a sequel, yeah, I don't think you can go off in left field too far, and you have to provide people with their expectations. And again, their expectations are not unreasonable. They're fine. They're good. Like I said, it makes game development a little more easier for us. We don't have to reinvent the whole game structure. There will be a mansion. It'll be filled with puzzles and games, and there will be ghosts and startling events and hauntings and some surprises. So I think that's a good thing. Well, this will not be a game for the kiddies. This will be a game for mature adults. Well, back when we were developing the 11th Hour, I did try to push the envelope in that regard, but I think the time was a little too early. But now I think the time has come, and I think we all recognize that we're adults here, and we can handle this stuff. We can handle a bit of adult content.